Thank you, Chairwoman Lowy. As incoming chairman of the Commerce, Justice, Science Subcommittee, I'd like to take a couple of minutes to discuss that section of this bill and the agencies it funds. We're currently on day 33 of the Trump shutdown. The impact is growing as employees miss paychecks, individuals and groups dependent upon federal assistance go without, and our public safety and scientific innovation is undermined. This is particularly true for the agencies under the jurisdiction of CJS Subcommittee. Just last week, the Department of Justice had to scramble to find cash to allow recipients of grant programs under the Violence Against Women Act to be funded for one additional month. The New York City field office of the FBI had to set up a food bank for employees who are currently working without pay. We have heard reports that individual FBI agents are asking not to be called back to work so they can find paying jobs, and that agents in training are quitting the process with no paycheck in sight. The shutdown is also undermining scientific research and our next generation of scientists. The National Science Foundation, NOAA, NASA are currently unable to award grants for ongoing research or scholarships to ensure that our future scientists have the ability to continue their studies. At the Department of Commerce, key economic statistics are being delayed. The International Trade Administration cannot investigate unfair trade practices. In total, more than 90,000 employees at the Department of Justice, which includes the FBI, DEA, ATF, U.S. Marshals, and the Bureau of Prisons, are working without pay. More than 90% of employees at NASA are currently furloughed without pay, and more than 86% of employees at Commerce find themselves in the same situation without pay. The question I have for our colleagues on the other side of the aisle is simply this: is this worth the cost? Should we imperil our economy, our scientific leadership, and our public safety because the President wants to waste money on an ineffective and unnecessary wall? We all know the answer to that question, although some are too afraid, unfortunately, to say it. This bill offers us a bipartisan way out of this crisis. It is the compromise that the House and Senate negotiators worked out last fall. I think that merits repeating. This bill is the bipartisan compromise that House and Senate negotiators worked out last fall. While the CJS section does not contain everything that our side might want, it does contain important investments in science, innovation, justice, and economic development. And in fact, with very few changes, this portion of H.R. 648 very closely mirrors what the Senate introduced just 2 days ago. The CJS division of this bill includes significant increases for the Census Bureau, NASA, the National Science Foundation, and the FBI. It rejects the administration's proposed cuts to the Economic Development Administration, the Minority Business Development Agency, and the Manufacturing Extension Partnership Program, and more. It is a common-sense solution to the shutdown and lets our federal employees get back to the business of helping our nation. I urge members on both sides to vote for this bill. And I'd just like to close by saying that what I said before, we continue to push and push for this wall to be built. I don't spend time on whether the wall will be big or small, cement or wood or metal. For me, it's simply this: this country, of all countries in the war, should never build a wall. This country is not the country that builds a wall. So in New York, we have the Statue of Liberty. In the South, a wall. Thank you.